In every community, there are figures we are taught to trust: the teacher who guides our children, the police officer who protects our streets, and perhaps above all, the doctor, the one person who holds the power to ease our pain, to extend our lives, and to comfort us in our final days. But what if the very person sworn to protect life was the one quietly taking it away? Tonight, we step into the chilling story of Harold Shipman, a respected English physician who, behind his polite smile and gentle bedside manner, concealed a monstrous truth. Over decades, his patients placed their faith in him, never knowing they were placing themselves into the hands of death itself. Harold Frederick Shipman was born in Nottingham, England, in January of 1946, the second of 4 children in a working-class family. His father, a lorry driver, was often absent, while his mother, Vera, ruled the household with a firm and demanding hand. From a young age, Harold was known as quiet, intelligent, and somewhat withdrawn, a boy who kept to himself but who always seemed to watch others closely, as if studying the details of life around him. Yet the most defining influence of his childhood would not be found in the classroom or the playground, but in the slow, agonizing decline of the woman he loved most, his mother. When his mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer, Harold became her closest companion, watching over her as her illness grew worse. The doctors who visited her home brought with them a drug called morphine, a powerful medicine that soothed her suffering but also hastened her end. Harold watched each injection with fascination, seeing how the pain in her eyes faded into peace, and then into silence. For the young boy, this moment was not just a tragedy, it was a lesson. He had learned, perhaps too early, that a doctor's hand could hold absolute power, the power to comfort, yes, but also the power to kill. Years later, Harold Shipman would become exactly what his mother once needed, a doctor. After graduating from Leeds School of Medicine, he entered general practice and, by the 1970s, established himself as a family physician in Hyde, a small town in Greater Manchester. To his patients, he seemed the very model of reliability. He made time for house calls, spoke gently to the elderly, and often appeared more caring than other doctors who rushed from patient to patient. In Hyde, people felt lucky to have him. He was trusted, respected, and admired. But beneath this carefully polished mask of compassion, Harold Shipman had already begun to shape a very different legacy, one that would forever stain the history of medicine. As the years passed, Shipman's reputation as a caring doctor only grew stronger. Families in Hyde trusted him with their parents, their grandparents, their most vulnerable loved ones. But behind closed doors, his visits became something else entirely. Patients who seemed healthy, even cheerful, were suddenly found dead within hours of seeing him. Almost always, he was the last person in the room, the final face they saw. He injected them with massive doses of morphine, a drug normally used for terminal cancer pain, and quietly watched as their lives slipped away. He would then calmly fill out the death certificate, often writing down old age or heart failure. To grieving families, it seemed natural. After all, who would question the word of a doctor? It is believed that Shipman killed at least 215 of his patients, but some estimates suggest the true number may have been closer to 250. That would make him not only Britain's most prolific serial killer, but one of the deadliest in all of history. For decades, Shipman continued his pattern without consequence, because no one dared to question the authority of a doctor. But eventually, whispers began to spread. Families noticed strange similarities. Too many elderly patients had died too suddenly, and always after visits from the same physician. Yet the turning point came in 1998, with the death of Kathleen Grundy, a wealthy and well-known local woman. Shipman not only signed her death certificate, he also forged her will, leaving almost all of her money to himself. It was an act of arrogance that finally drew suspicion. An investigation was launched. Exhumations of Shipman's former patients revealed lethal levels of morphine in their tissues. The trusted doctor of Hyde was about to face justice. In January 2000, Harold Shipman stood trial for the murders of 15 patients, though investigators knew the real number was far higher. The evidence was overwhelming: forged documents, morphine traces, falsified records. Families of the victims filled the courtroom, staring at the man who had betrayed their trust and stolen their loved ones. Shipman, however, showed no emotion. He sat calmly, hands folded, as though the lives of hundreds weighed nothing at all. He was found guilty on all counts, sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. The courtroom had its verdict, but justice for his victims could never truly be measured. Harold Shipman spent only 4 years behind bars. In January 2004, on the eve of his 58th birthday, he was found hanging in his cell at Wakefield Prison. To some, it was an act of cowardice, a man unwilling to face the lifetime of punishment he deserved. To others, it was simply an ending without closure, one last way for Shipman to deny his victims' families the satisfaction of seeing him rot in prison. Harold Shipman is remembered not only for the scale of his crimes, but for the way he shattered the very foundation of trust between patients and doctors. He exploited his role, his authority, and the faith of the people who believed he was there to save them. Instead, he used his knowledge to manipulate, to control, and to kill. His legacy is one of sorrow, of questions that may never be answered, and of grief that will never fade. And perhaps the most terrifying thought of all is this: if even the kindly neighborhood doctor could be a killer, then evil can truly hide in the places we feel safest. This was the story of Harold Shipman, the Doctor of Death.